Chapter 1740. 1. Unable to defend. The divine shield in Zhang Yi's hand collided with the golden arrow instantly, causing a violent explosion. Just as Jang E was within reach, the terrifying energy exploded like a tsunami, rushing towards his body. Zhang E had experienced countless battles, but this was the first time he felt such a terrifying oppression in close combat. In the past, when had he ever been treated like this under heavy protection? The powerful force hit the divine shield, and the huge shield hit Zhang Yi's body behind it, but without the defense of Senluo Wanxiang, the divine shield in his hand was still defeated. The power attacked along his arm, peeling off the holy silver weapons and armor on his body layer by layer. Crack! The Qianlong armor was also shattered, and Yi's metal fragments scattered from the air, revealing the combat uniform inside. Zhang Yi's body quickly swept away, and only then did he barely avoid the arrow of Emperor Sheron. He raised his right hand in shock, and the arm armor of the Qianlong armor had been destroyed. Fortunately, the combat uniform inside was also made by Lu Karen himself, and it was extremely tough. This guy... Zhang E looked coldly at Emperor Sheron in the distance, and was horrified. Except for the existence of Bai Longzi and the Gatekeeper of the Hades, whose superpower index was far higher than his own, Zhang E had never faced such an embarrassing opponent in the past. His Senluo Wanxiang was actually useless in front of the opponent, and the 3,000-dimensional gates of Senluo Wanxiang were his strongest defense. But now it was ineffective. Zhang E couldn't figure out which link had a flaw, because Senluo Wanxiang's defense still looked intact, and it didn't even suffer any impact. Space system ability. Zhang E thought, could it be that the opponent used the space system ability to cross his dimensional gate and then attack him? But he quickly denied this guess. Because wanting to pass through Senluo Wanxiang is equivalent to passing through the barrier of the entire world. So it is impossible for Senluo Wanxiang to have no reaction at all. Although Zhang E was alert in his heart, his hands did not stop at all. The Qianlong armor began to repair itself. There were plenty of repair materials in the alien space. As long as it was not completely destroyed in an instant, it could be repaired. Not to mention that there were 3 spare armors in the alien space. For a space alien like Zhang E who had an independent space, logistics was definitely one of the biggest advantages. Zhang E quickly distanced himself from Emperor Sheron. He had to judge what means the other party used to break his defense. Emperor Sheron seemed a little regretful when he saw that this move did not achieve a winning result. However, he still had a confident and calm smile on his face. I said, I can see through the past and the future, and your end has been determined. All obstructions are meaningless. As he said, the Dharmakaya of the 3 worlds continued to raise the Vishnu bow in his hand, aiming at Zhang E and slowly pulling the bowstring. The distance between Zhang E and Emperor Sheron had been pulled to 10 kilometers, invisible to the naked eye, but the arrow in Emperor Sheron's hand locked his position tightly. Zhang E even felt that he could hear the sound of the bowstring tightening, which was the spatial tremor caused by the condensation of a powerful force. Knowing the future, that means he can determine my position, right? If this is really the ability, then it is similar to my precision shooting. However, I still don't know how he ignored my defense. Zhang E couldn't make a judgment for the time being, so he could only choose to defend. Swish! Emperor Sheron shot another golden arrow from the long bow in his hand. The arrow passed through the air, filling the sky and the earth with sacred gold, as if the gods came from the distant land and brought light to the world. In Zhang Yi's left eye, the second hand of the clock trembled wildly, and he was observing all the possibilities within the next 3 seconds. And right in his eyes, the arrow suddenly came, and then disappeared directly in the air. When it reappeared, it was already at his forehead. This time, Zhang Yi was already prepared in his heart, but he was also extremely focused by this abrupt attack. God's domain purification. Because he was prepared, he chose to directly distort the entire space in front of him. The future was met by him, and when the golden arrow appeared, the space in front of Zhang E was instantly distorted, as if a big hand clenched it fiercely from the void, and the space collapsed. Affected by this force, the golden arrow twisted wildly, and its trajectory was also affected. It brushed Zhang E's body and flew to one side. The deviation in direction caused it to fall into the vast mountains. In an instant, a dazzling golden light rose from the earth, and the golden energy turned into a huge sphere, directly swallowing a huge mountain. Most of the mountain was destroyed. Zhang E looked at the collapsed mountain with a very solemn look. The second time, this was not an accident. Now Zhang E can be sure that Emperor Shetian's attack can pass through a Sinluo Wanxiang. But what is the principle? If there is no way to figure out the opponent's ability, it will be difficult to come up with a targeted solution. What's more, Emperor Shetian, who can see through his past, is very clear about his ability. Zhang E blocked it for the second arrow. Emperor Shetian was not in a hurry, and he pulled the longbow to its full length to prepare to shoot the third arrow. Zhang E looked at the long distance between himself and Emperor Shetian. At this time, the two were 13 kilometers apart. If it weren't for the intelligence system and satellite, he wouldn't even know where Emperor Shetian was. But how could Emperor Shetian accurately shoot him? Even for Zhang E now, the effective killing range is actually only about 5 kilometers. Of course, with a full-strength attack, the attack range can cover dozens of kilometers, but the killing power at subsequent distances will definitely be greatly weakened. And how could Emperor Shetian pose such a great threat to Zhang E at such a long distance? Even if it is a spatial ability, it's a bit outrageous. Zhang E thought so. In the shadow, Yang Xinxin, who found that Zhang E's battle was not easy, was also carefully observing the battlefield. As the brain of the team, her thinking ability is extremely strong, which is why, although she is not interested in improving the level of superpowers, Zhang E will take her with him no matter which battle. Now Yang Xinxin can give Zhang E more help than Liang Yu. When Zhang E was confused, Yang Xinxin reminded him, "Brother, the other party's ability may be the law of cause and effect." Chapter 1742 Law of Cause and Effect Weapon. Causality weapon? Zhang E was not unfamiliar with this term. For example, the Hell Guillotine of the later days was a typical causality weapon. Causality is not exclusive to the rule system. And considering that Emperor Shetian has a strong ability in the time system, his time ability can also touch the law of causality. Zhang E was concentrating on resisting Emperor Shetian's attack. The third arrow was blocked by his force, but the explosion at close range still made him look a little embarrassed. This time, he retreated 20 kilometers away. But Emperor Shetian just chased him slowly, and then drew his bow and arrow again. As Zhang E expected, his ability was not in the space system because Zhang E, as the White Bishop of the space-time system, knew that he could not do such a thing in this field. Xinxin, you mean that he, like Guan Longyue, can lock my position through something? No matter where I flee, he can attack me accurately, even through my universe, right? Yang Xinxin frowned and said seriously, "Brother, your ability is absolute defense, and physical attacks cannot penetrate. Then, excluding the possibility that the other party uses a more powerful spatial ability to deal with you, the remaining possibility is a bit outrageous, but it is also the answer closest to the truth, if combined with what Emperor Shetian just said. So, I think this is a time-based causal skill. His arrows are a bit like Li Changgong's I Am God's Will, which can launch targeted attacks on you. However, it does not only work on you. Zhang E could see this by looking at the snowy mountains in the distance that were destroyed by the golden arrows. To put it simply, Zhang E had already understood that it was meaningless to continue to escape, and the distance in space could be erased by the other party. If he retreated again, he would hand over the southwest region to others. So, he simply turned around and activated the ability of Space Shuttle to go straight to Emperor Shetian. Yang Xinxin took a deep breath, and a dark light flashed in her pupils, brighter than black gemstones. Emperor Shetian can see through people's past and future. His ability can ignore space and launch attacks, but it is not only effective on you. Then, excluding the possibility of the rule system, I will come to the following answer. His attack traveled through the future. Zhang E quickly approached Emperor Shetian and came within 10 kilometers of him in an instant. He aimed the divine refining in his hand at Emperor Sheron and exploded with a shocking blow. The power of the star-piercing cannon is no joke. It hit Emperor Sheron head-on, and even he had to quickly open the world-honored heavenly umbrella, turn the umbrella handle, and lower countless light curtains to resist this attack. Boom! The direct collision of energy triggered magnificent light and shadow, and the dark and golden powers devoured each other. Emperor Sheron's body retreated hundreds of meters in the air. Zhang E, who saw this scene, knew that after the consumption of hundreds of nuclear bombs before him and the continuous activation of that special ability, Emperor Sheron's energy consumption was much greater than his. So, it was not so easy for him to take Zhang E's attack. Traveling through the future. What does this mean? Zhang E asked with a frown. Yang Xinxin said, in other words, his attack seems to be aimed at you now, but it is actually aimed at the time node in the past. It's just that he predicted your position in advance and then made the arrow appear from the timeline. In other words, his attack reached your current position earlier than you did. Because of this, Sunluo Wanxiang was not attacked at all, but it was difficult to play a role. Zhang E finally understood what Yang Xinxin meant, and his eyes were solemn. Because this ability is really 2 against the sky. If he didn't also have the ability of time and could predict a period of time in the future, this kind of attack would be fatal just by its suddenness. The strongest man of the 8 tribes is really not that easy to deal with. However, the problem at the moment is that even if it is possible to guess the opponent's ability, there is almost no way to deal with this ability. After Emperor Sheron stabilized his body in midair, he stood majestically on the 7 treasure golden steps, with his legs apart. The 7 golden steps shone with a sacred brilliance, making him look like a god. He drew his bow again and aimed at Zhang E in the distance. At this moment, Zhang E took a deep breath and muttered, 2 worlds break. The huge defense system formed by the 3,000-dimensional gates dissipated directly in midair. Instead, there was a sphere formed by only 2-dimensional gates, with a diameter compressed to less than 2 meters, just wrapping Zhang E in it. At the same time, the second hand of the clock in his left eye trembled wildly, and within the range of 3 seconds, a residual image appeared, sweeping out a fan-shaped area. The golden arrow flew out of Emperor Sheron's palm, but when it appeared again, it was actually completely blocked by the 2-world break. Although there are only 2-dimensional gates, it is a more powerful defense that condenses 3,000-dimensional gates. Zhang E has not used this ability for a long time because the coverage of Sunluo Wanxiang is wider and more flexible. But this does not mean that the defense of the 2 realms absolute not is not strong enough. In fact, in terms of small-scale defense, the 2 realms absolute not is stronger. The golden arrow appeared again. Affected by the time second hand, it was unable to completely determine Zhang E's position. Coupled with the resistance of the 2 worlds, it finally lost its effect this time. It sank into Zhang E's dimensional space. It was clearly shot from behind Zhang E, but the next moment Zhang E adjusted its direction and shot it from the dimensional door in front of him to Emperor Sheron. The expression on Emperor Sheron's face changed slightly, and he quickly drew his bow and arrow again. A golden arrow was hastily shot by him. In midair, the 2 golden arrows collided with each other, triggering a strong energy explosion. The golden light rain sprinkled the entire world, dyeing the snowy mountains with a layer of dazzling golden color. This made countless people who believed in Tantric Buddhism in the snowy region kneel down and pray. Even the soldiers who were confronting at the border, many of them threw down their weapons and kowtowed hard to the snow. And this short gap was enough for Zhang E to come near Emperor Sheron. Emperor Sheron released the golden holy sword twice, and there was a gap between the attack and the supernatural power in his body. Zhang E stared at him coldly, stretched out his right hand towards him, and clenched it fiercely towards the middle. God's domain purification. Destroy it for me. Buzz. The space shook violently, and the entire space within a kilometer radius with Emperor Sheron as the center suddenly collapsed towards the middle. Chapter 1743 Prediction and Anti-Prediction. The Divine Realm Pure Tribulation is an indiscriminate attack covering the entire range, and Emperor Sheron, who is at the core of the power, has withstood the most powerful impact. The Master's Tianluo umbrella in his hand, which was materialized by the supernatural power, suddenly opened and dropped a series of golden light curtains to try to resist. But this kind of defense is not like Zhang Yi's Sinluo Wanxiang, and the defense is still much worse. The divine realm pure tribulation hit directly, and cracks appeared in its defense. The recoil of the power caused Emperor Shirtian to slowly spit out a mouthful of blood. At this time, the senior officials of Bharata who were watching the battle widened their eyes, unable to believe the facts they saw. How could this happen? Emperor Shirtian was injured. Oh my god! A man wearing a turban put his hands together and prayed to the sky. May the three-phase god bless. Emperor Shirtian must not lose to that foreigners. The command center was in chaos. This incident had too much impact on them. After all, in their eyes, Bharata is now the world's #1 superpower. Indra is the most powerful alien on the planet. With the power of the three phases, he is invincible. But the reality is that he was counterattacked by chaos and vomited blood. Chalmar covered his head in disbelief. How could this happen? This shouldn't be. In the past, Indra has never been injured in battle. It was Rajesh who saw through the essence of the problem. He is no longer fighting in Bharata. As soon as this was said, the senior officials at the scene suddenly realized. Indra is not only the highest-ranking Brahmin in Bharata, but also a chosen prophet. He is the darling of the three phases of the gods, so he can get the power of faith of tens of millions of people in Bharata. However, at present, he has left Bharata and is fighting on the border. Without the power of faith, his power cannot be as invincible as when he was in Bharata. No wonder this guy wants to escape to the territory of Huashu. What a sinister and despicable guy. Chalmar shouted angrily. What should we do? Should we? An official looked at Chalmar nervously and asked. Before he could finish the second half of his sentence, Rajesh slammed the table and stood up, cursing, No! Are you crazy? If we fight the god of love with Huashu, it will only put the whole of Bharata in a desperate situation. Everyone was silent. The reserves of the god of love were not at the same level in the two countries. The official was obviously furious, but this was absolutely not right. What should we do? Are we going to watch Emperor Shirtian lose? Chalmar took a deep breath and looked at the big screen in front of him with a serious look. Let's pray for Emperor Shirtian. The three-phase god will bless their pious people. After saying that, Chalmar put his hands together and began to pray. In the command center, many senior officials also made the same move. At present, they can't do anything else except praying. Snow Mountain Range. Blood was flowing from the corner of Emperor Shirtian's mouth. Jang E saw that his attack was effective, and he already understood it in his heart. The attack method is good, but in terms of defense, you are far behind me. Emperor Shirtian's offensive ability is not inferior to Zhang E, and he is even better in surprise attacks. However, Zhang E never fights head-on. He will use his brain to maximize his advantages. For example, now 100 nuclear bombs have consumed a lot of Emperor Shirtian's superpowers. He can even eat while fighting to replenish his consumption. And in his space, there is also a super huge arsenal. When needed, Zhang E will instantly pour out artillery fire. Even if it can only consume Emperor Shirtian's state a little bit, it is worth it. Zhang E is so arrogant now. As long as he can win, he can do it at all costs. Emperor Shirtian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and the three-life body Dharma image, one arm waving the huge Gachuo hammer, smashed towards Zhang E. The huge Gachuo hammer Dharma image appeared from the sky, passing through the thick clouds like a mountain pressing down. Zhang E raised his right hand, and the divine refining swoosh, swoosh, swoosh spread out countless vines, interweaving into a huge net in the air, blocking the Gachuo hammer. The sword in the tree is a combination of e-metal and various technological materials. The divine refining has a powerful ability of attack and defense. Of course, the strongest is defense. Its toughness is even better than e-metal. The condensed net blocked the Gachuo hammer and withstood its impact head-on. The net was deeply concave inward, and then the impact force was dispersed to each vine. The taut vines seemed to be broken at any time, but in the end they still blocked the attack of Emperor Sheron intact. Zhang E raised the divine refining spear in his right hand, aimed at Emperor Sheron, and shot. At this time, Emperor Sheron was injured, his internal strength was unstable, and he was in a weak state. This state, for an alien of Emperor Sheron's level, can be quickly restored through various means. But Jang E certainly won't give him such an opportunity. He wants to make Emperor Sheron have no chance to breathe and force him to death. The holy silver bullets loaded in the spear are special for aliens. Combined with Zhang Yi's void power, they also pose a certain threat when shot at Emperor Sheron. Emperor Sheron did not dare to ignore it and could only blow the conch shell. Do. The loud conch shell sounded, and sound waves formed around Emperor Sheron, like blue waves drowning all the bullets in front of him. Zhang E didn't care, and at this time, he held the divine spears and started firing around Emperor Sheron. Both of them have the ability of time attribute and can foresee the future, but in this critical battle state, Zhang Yi's ability is more useful. The scenes seen in their eyes are no longer fixed, but full of afterimages. Those are afterimages under countless possible time continuations. I can foresee the future. You foresee my foresight and change your actions. I foresee your change of action and respond in the same way. Zhang Yi's attack was extremely fierce. Neither of them had any intention of close combat, but Zhang Yi still remained within a range of 3 kilometers. Because of this range, his double guns and God's domain purification can be effectively used. Emperor Sheron is not a strange person who is strong in close combat, so there is no need to worry too much about being attacked by him. However, Indra's counterattack was equally fierce. The attack of Vishnu's bow kept Zhang Yi's nerves highly tense. The arrow that could be shot from the past to the future must be defended with full concentration, and a loophole may appear if you're not careful. In the 2 realms of the southwest region, the 2 armies were on full alert, and the killing atmosphere filled the snow mountain, but no one took the initiative. They all knew that the real winner was not them, but the 2 aliens who burst out powerful energy from time to time on the distant snow mountain. Chapter 1740, 4 Unlimited Reserves. The battle between Zhang E and Emperor Sheron was extremely fierce. Neither of them wanted to fight hand-to-hand, and they used their own abilities to attack and kill each other. After the initial stage, the 2 had almost used up their most powerful killing moves. Their attacks and defenses were very powerful, and in a short period of time, no one could completely break through each other's defenses. Emperor Sheron's time-related abilities, Time Overture and Reincarnation Finale, were indeed powerful, allowing him to seize the initiative at the beginning of the battle. The time that Zhang E could influence was far less than his. However, wouldn't 3 seconds of future foresight change the future? Even if it was only a 1-second impact, it could cause Emperor Sheron's future foresight to deviate so that it could not form an effective killing force against Zhang E. Vishnu's bow was originally the most effective killing move for the attack, but it could not really kill Zhang E because of this short 3-second deviation. At this time, the advantage of the space-related alien was fully exerted. That is, the powerful consumption ability. Zhang E himself is a huge mobile arsenal. He has too many powerful weapons on him, and he can even use large thermal weapons directly without the help of a launch vehicle. The 2 sides attacked each other, and the future they could see in their eyes was a chaotic afterimage. The future was constantly distorted in the world of the 2. You foresee, I foresee and change, and then you foresee what I foresee. In this way, no one can take advantage of this. The nuclear bombs have been used up, and Zhang E, who can get a steady supply, gradually began to gain the upper hand. As long as he is not attacked by the Vishnu bow, his defense at this level is unsolvable. Seeing that the Tianluo umbrella of Emperor Sheron cast a golden curtain all over the sky, making his attack ineffective, Zhang Yi's eyes also became sharp. There are some means, but I want to see how long you can stop me. Emperor Sheron was suspended above the snow mountain, and his mood was extremely heavy at this time. The future he saw was only 1 in 10,000. the possibility of Zhang Yi's victory began to become higher and higher. But as the first master of Barada and the strongest level of aliens representing the dignity of the two countries, he must not lose. In the three-life body of Emperor Sheron, on the arm that had not been used, a finger was circling a constantly rotating Dharma wheel. He can foresee the attack of the end of Samsara and take precautions in advance. There is no way to affect him except to break his defense head-on. If I had known this, I should have used Vishnu's bow to shoot him at the beginning. Don't give him a chance to react. But now, it's time to change the way of fighting. Emperor Sheron was about to shoot the wonderful vision, divine wheel on the finger of the Dharma body. But suddenly, his eyes saw a scene that made him extremely surprised. In the void in front of Jang E, a dark cylindrical metal suddenly slowly revealed its body. It was a cylinder with a diameter of about 2 meters and a length of more than 10 meters, with a hemispherical head. Emperor Sheron was stunned for a moment, but when he saw the characters on the cylinder clearly, he suddenly realized what it was. Missile. Missiles are not grenades. Even if it is a reinforcement-type alien, it is impossible to make it explode with power by throwing it. So Zhang E directly put the missile launcher into the alien space. The power of this thing is countless times stronger than his sniper rifle. From a certain perspective, human civilization is built on boiling water and throwing stones. Pistols, sniper rifles, and missiles are not much different in principle. In Zhang Yi's hands, they can all burst out with more terrifying lethality. Zhang E placed his right hand on the missile, and the black void power overflowed from the void vortex behind him and lingered on the missile. Weapons are extensions of the body, and superpowers are the spread of spiritual power. Zhang E can use guns as weapons and naturally knows how to integrate superpowers with hot weapons. However, this ability, except for Shaolai, Chiyu in the northwest region, is currently only Zhang E, who has always been accustomed to using firearms, can do it. Taste the taste of being hit by a missile head-on, Zhang E said coldly. It happened very quickly, and Zhang E didn't care about Emperor Sheron's dodge. He is not a space-based alien. End of reincarnation is affected by Zhang Yi's time secondhand and cannot accurately predict the future, so he cannot predict the future landing point of the missile. So this attack is quite fatal to him. In the command center of Barada, the senior executives who saw this scene jumped up from their chairs. How could he carry missiles with him? This. They were so excited that they were incoherent, cursing in their hearts that this was completely cheating. Everyone is obviously an alien, and they should fight with their superpowers. Why can you carry such a destructive weapon with you? Even in their hearts, there is a more terrible idea. If he can carry a missile launcher with him, then can he also launch the god of death of love at any time? And because his alien space cannot be surveyed by satellites, he can even suddenly detonate the god of death of love without being noticed by any force. Such thoughts made them panic. At this time, an expert in the field of aliens hurriedly spoke to comfort everyone. Don't worry, at such a close distance, he can't detonate the god of death of love. Otherwise, he will die. Everyone thought about it and felt that it made sense, so they breathed a sigh of relief. But now, Emperor Sheron is not doing well. Unlike Zhang E, he does not have the ability to travel through space. Facing the missiles aimed at him, he can only open the world-honored one's heavenly umbrella and increase his defense to the extreme to block it. Take it. Zhang E directly fired the missile that was enough to destroy a town at Emperor Sheron. Combined with his void power, this attack could completely flatten an entire urban area. Beep. Emperor Sheron turned the world-honored one's heavenly umbrella and blew the conch shell at the same time, and his body kept moving to dodge. But the biggest advantage of the missile is not only that it is powerful enough, but also has a wide coverage range. In an instant, the golden energy above the great snow mountain surged in all directions like a tsunami, and the deafening roar triggered avalanches on a large number of surrounding snow-capped mountains. The dark energy rose like clouds, shattering the mountains and rivers, and also drowning Emperor Sheron. After a moment, the air returned to tranquility, and Emperor Sheron's body was constantly retreating due to the impact. And the Tianluo umbrella in his hand, which was the embodiment of the energy, also shattered with a crack sound. The next moment, he watched Zhang E in front of him with a horrible smile on his face. Zhang E waved his hand, and another warhead slowly emerged from the void. You can guess how many such missiles I have on me. Chapter 1745 Wonderful Vision Wheel. Above Cannon City, Jang E was suspended in midair, and the Juggernaut Temple was slowly taken into the dimensional gate by him. The surrounding Bharata army watched this scene with their own eyes, and countless Bharata people knelt and wailed, feeling that their faith had collapsed because their holy temple was taken away by the enemy. In midair, a group of fighter planes quickly approached from a distance. When they saw the scene clearly, these pilots were furious. They pressed the launcher hard, and one missile after another, dragging a long tail, shot towards the direction where Zhang E was. Zhang E just slowly raised his left hand. All counterattack. Those missiles did not approach Zhang E's body, but went straight into his different space. The next moment, an incredible situation appeared. The missile disappeared abruptly, and then appeared out of thin air, but this time it was fired in the direction of the fighter group. The speed of the missile was too fast, and all the fighter pilots did not expect such a situation to happen, and it was too late to dodge for a while. Just as dozens of fighter planes were about to be destroyed, a dazzling golden light swept across the land from a distance and quickly enveloped them. The golden curtain blocked the missiles, and the violent explosion did not hurt the pilots at all. There was no surprise on Zhang Yi's face. He turned his head and looked into the distance, saying lightly, "Finally here." He had done so many things in Bharata, it would be strange if the 8 tribes did not react. But now what he wanted to do has been done, and it is entirely up to him to advance or retreat. A handsome man kept spinning an umbrella in his hand, and stepped on 7 golden steps to Cannon City. The moment he saw him, everyone in Cannon City was boiling. Because they were familiar with this face, it was the great prophet, Bharata's supernatural power Anand. Now Bharata's patron saint, Dragon 8 Tribes, the head of heavenly tribes, the emperor of heavenly tribes, Emperor Sheron. "We should go," Zhang E said to Liang Yu. He never had the habit of fighting in other people's territory without certainty. At this moment, a gentle voice came from the man's mouth. "I recognize you, Zhang E." Zhang E frowned. Not many foreigners know his real name. His personal information is the highest level of confidentiality in Huashu country. Emperor Sheron looked at him with a smile. Huashu countries, chaos, a dual attributability of time and space, extraordinary strength. You were just an ordinary warehouse manager in Tianhai City. After the end of the world, you used cruel means to kill your friends and neighbors to survive. With your stable character, ruthless actions, and powerful supernatural talents, you have now become the top existence in the world of supernatural beings step by step. Zhang Yi's eyes became more and more sharp. "You have investigated me very carefully." Zhang Yi was a little shocked. He didn't expect that his background was completely investigated by the other party. This is very outrageous. Because the things before he became rich, even the top leaders of the major regions of Huashu country may not know. After all, at that time, the end of the world had just arrived, and there were many small people like him struggling to survive in the predicament. Who would pay attention to him? And how did Indra know this? At this time, Yang Xinshin explained to him, "Brother, I know who this person is. He is a very famous prophet in Bharata, Bharata's supernatural power Anand." After listening to Yang Xinshin's story about Indra, Zhang E suddenly realized, another natural alien. So, he can predict the future, that is, he is an alien of the time system. So, can he also see my past? Zhang E thought of this, and felt much more at ease. Because what Indra can see is only his past after rebirth. Indra can't see that he is a reborn person, that is Zhang Yi's biggest secret. Although now, this secret does not seem to be too important, but Zhang Yi always feels that this matter must not be that simple, and no one has told it. Zhang Yi took a clear look at Indra in less than 2 seconds. He is a standard high-caste appearance, with fair skin, handsome face, well-proportioned muscles in his naked upper body, wearing standard Bharata traditional clothes and always with a condescending expression on his face. It's just that the look that Emperor Shirtian gave Zhang E seemed casual, but in fact, it was full of solemnity. Zhang E looked at the Buddha's umbrella that was constantly spinning in his right hand, and then looked at the 7 golden steps under his feet. For some reason, one of the 7 steps was dim. Emperor Shirtian smiled and said to Zhang E, "Do you think I'm investigating you?" "No, I don't need to. Because I'm a prophet, I can see the future." He held up 2 fingers. "Among the 10,000 futures I can see, there are only 2 futures where you can survive. But if you surrender now, I can consider forgiving your sins and allow you to join my 8 tribes and inherit the name of Yaksha. How about it?"
At
the Bharata Command Center, the senior officials watching the battle heard Emperor Shirtian's words and opened their eyes in disbelief. Is Emperor Shirtian crazy? Facing this guy who killed our country's aliens and blasphemed the temple, how can we tolerate him without executing him? Chalmar the general said angrily. Rajesh, who was wearing a suit and gold-rimmed glasses, raised his glasses and said seriously, "Hanan is the most top-level alien in Huashu country. If we can take him into the 8 tribes, then the loss of Yaksha and Maharaga can be compensated. Moreover, through this kind of thing, we can suppress Huashu country and make it look bad in the international community. This is a very worthwhile thing." Zhang E listened to Emperor Shirtian's words and raised a sarcastic smile. He wanted to leave. Who could stop him? Emperor Shirtian saw Zhang Yi's expression and knew what he meant. Emperor Shirtian's expression changed all of a sudden. The golden light on his body was steaming and instantly turned into a 3-headed, 6-armed, 3-life body. "In that case, then you go to hell." He raised a finger, and the Dharma wheel hovering on his finger made a harsh buzzing sound, and then instantly flew towards Zhang E. Sun Luo Wanxiang. Zhang E opened 3,000-dimensional gates and guarded himself firmly in the middle. Even if he is the leader of the 8 tribes, whose power index is at most several thousand points stronger than mine, he will definitely not be able to break my defense in such a short time. Zhang E thought to himself. The wonderful vision will flew towards Zhang E at an extremely fast speed. During the flight, it split into 2 into 4, and soon it became infinite, filling the entire sky.